Hello, people. I'm just sitting at home reflecting a bit on the anti-SJW versus SJW feud that happened in the mid 2000s and how really there were no winners. The SJWs were eviscerated because although their principles were good, their execution and the arguments for them were bad. They were apparently citing discrimination for everything: racism, homophobia, transphobia, whatever you can call it. And I get that. It was the boy crying wolf. But the anti SJW movement falling apart afterwards was just splendid. And Thunderfoot predicted it. Strangely enough, no one took him seriously, but he predicted it. See, what happened was the is the anti-SJWs, although they were counter left, was a counter movement to the mainstream social justice warrior movement. Although they were also perceived as left wing on the political spectrum, they were also fighting their own comrades, and none of their main talking point was freedom of speech. Great, but none of them were to ever say, sorry, where the freedom of speech was being attacked. Because what I saw and many others was being held accountable for what you have to say. And that to them was a major problem. Think about the pug incident of that Mitchum guy. I can't remember his name. See, that's how irrelevant they've gotten. What he did was he trained his girlfriend's pug to do certain salutes when he said certain things. He posted it up on YouTube. Here's the problem. If it and this was meant to be for his girlfriend, why did he post it on YouTube and not just send it to her? If I'm gonna make a joke between me and my sibling, I'm just gonna send it to my sibling. I don't have to share it with the world. She was deliberately looking to piss people off. What happened is he was held accountable. Whether you agree with how he was accountable or not, that's not the issue. He was held accountable. Then we have Computing Forever, who has gotten full batshit crazy um, conspiracy theory stuff. Tinfoil hat, flat earth, even 9/11 denial. What happened there is actually quite interesting. He is an atheist, was an atheist. He said he's converted back to Catholicism, and he was very right wing in his YouTube channel. You could clearly see very right wing ideas. Then his mother died, and he then had an existential crisis. Is she in the afterlife? Is she really be reunited with her? And his channel before the SJW thing was a tech channel, but then he started getting into politics and how we are being emasculated as men. I'm like, dude, yeah. But now he's gotten full. Dave Cullen is his name, by the way. Full batshit crazy. He needs help. And yeah, he was one of the biggest arbiters. I don't know how Ahmed Skeptic is doing, but he has seemed to talk to some of his opposition. He reached across the aisle. Him and Lacey Green had a discussion. And yeah, I don't know if he's gotten back to media and stuff. Him and Shoe on Head. Awesome. I don't know what Greg and them are doing now, but that falling apart was amazing. Then there was Andy Warski. He had a full mental breakdown and just left YouTube. And people warned him of this. His best friend was a clinical psychologist and said, "You will have a mental breakdown." And he did. He started burning himself and all of these things. And true to nature, boom, he had it. But he still kept his left wing ideas about gay rights and stuff. So he didn't veer too off to the right. Then there's the famous Amos Yee, the pedophile. And also Marlo Yiannopoulos, who was literally just a rebel without a cause. He literally said, I'm just there to piss people off. He then made a defense of pedophilia. Boom, there goes his whole career. I'm like, yes, thank you. You really showed your true colors. Remember, he had a right to defend it. Now people are holding him accountable for wanting to do nothing to do with him. And given the pedophilia scandal here in South Africa, good. Good for them. And those schools. I don't know how those proceedings are going, but I digress. He made a defense of sexual assault of minors. Amos he did the same thing. Made a defense of the sexual assault of minors. And yeah, great work, guys. Then we get to the juggernaut, Dave Rubin of the Rubin Report, a failed stand-up comedian. He wants to talk about free speech. He talks about people protesting him at college campuses. Him and that factual feminist woman as well. The thing is, that factual feminist woman once complained that there were 20 students who went into a college safe space that was there. I'm like, okay. How many people attended her lecture? 3,000. So much for the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And yes, it's not a lot of people. Why are you complaining? And we all know about Jigglypuff in the SJW side. Then, and Dave Rubin's latest book is out. Don't burn this book. But it's like, nobody wants anything to do with you. You're a meme and a joke. You're 37. Larry King was your idol. But you do nothing like Larry King has done. Larry King was unbiased. He didn't have an agenda, so on and so forth. Counter arguments made a great video about comparing the two of you. You, on the other hand, had a agenda. You had ideas you wanted to spread. You had a political leaning. The left was your problem. You put a pedophile on your talk show. So please don't come with that BS of freedom of speech and accountability when you openly did that. You invited him back on after he was sent to prison, by the way. So great, good for you. Then Sargon of God, the spearhead of this movement. He was the one who when this all started, about Anita Sarkeesian and her video game criticism, which was very valid, by the way, because she would criticize the objectification of women. But here's her problem. If a woman had too big breasts in a video game, it was a problem. If it was too small, it was a problem. So, yay. But he spearheaded this movement against her. The thing is, it was also about freedom of speech, freedom to say what you want. He would list up articles on the UK. He would want to, and okay, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. He would want to ban things from the UK and articles about social justice. What they later found was he was strawmanning the argument. In his argument against intergender sport, the article states that the women wanted men and women to compete against each other in, can you guess? Archery. He was talking about the shot put and freestyle wrestling and stuff. That wasn't even the point. He was strawmanning the living hell out of her. He then, during this time, also made a sexual assault joke at a rape victim, which is also great work. Great. He then last year, oh no, in 2020 decided to get into politics. But he had one policy, and that was apologies, the dogs are here. One policy, that was to ban synagogues in to ban mosques. Sorry, it was mosques. I had a brain fart there. Sorry, was to ban mosques in the UK because in Afghanistan Christians can't have can't have churches, and Jews can't have synagogues. But the UK, and one of his arguments was the secularization of the UK. But in doing what he wants to do, he wants to get rid of the secularization in the UK. But there are other problems. If you read, that was my dad's audio. Let me just get this point. If you read his policies, what was he going to do? He talked all about gusto and this and that. How was he going to execute any of it? No one knows. What was he going to execute? No one knows. Other than that one policy. Here's the thing Bowler Hatman noted. There are people in the UK who are stressed about having a job, feeding their kids. That's what the people are worried about. They don't care if it's a purple man from Mars in politics. If you can guarantee those people jobs and stuff, they'll be happily vote for you. He didn't see it at that. So then he went into politics, he failed. His tweet about the sexual assault joke came up. And in YouTube space, you can have a hive mentality supporting you. In the general public, that's not possible. Boom! Got his ass handed to him by the political party he endorsed on his YouTube channel. He then got excommunicated from the party. The comedian who he said was right for freedom of speech also said he was full of shit. But these are just my thoughts on the matter. Okay, bye.